Hey everyone, I hope all of you are doing great. In this lesson, we are going to learn about Grafana variables and we are also going to learn about Grafana drilldowns. These are the things which are going to help you in making dynamic dashboards. So right now you can see I'm using the dashboard which we have created in our lesson number 1, and in there we have discussed about how to quickly create a dashboard which monitors everything related to server. Now if you notice here in this dashboard we have various rows and all of these contains several information. For example, you can see we have information about CPU, we have information about memory, VM stat, we have information about storage. Now if you notice one more thing here is that all of these information are related to one particular server which is selected from here. So first of all we are going to see how we can make a variable like this where we can make a selection, and again this data is going to be changing based on our selection. For example, here you can see right now app server 1 is selected, but if I'm interested in database server, I can just select that one and you will notice the details have changed here. So let's go ahead and first build this one using variables. So we will just go on and click here on plus sign and then we will click on new dashboard. Now here we can click on add visualization and here we are going to use Prometheus data source. Now here we will need to make some query. So for query, since this course is not related to Prometheus, I will just quickly go on, open the dashboards in a new tab, and I'm going to copy the query from one of the existing panel. So let's say if we are interested in probably, let's say in the CPU utilization, we can click on here and then we can click on edit. Now here you can see the queries which are available here. So now we have two choices. Either we can go ahead and copy all these queries one by one and then paste that query here. Now copy pasting all the queries from this dashboard to another one is going to be quite time consuming. So the better approach will be to go back to the panel which you want to copy. For example, let's say we are interested in this CPU basic panel. So we can click here on these three dots and then we can click on more, and you will notice here we have an option of create a library panel. Click here. Purpose of this library panel is that you can create a panel which you think are going to be used in multiple dashboards. So for example, let's say we want to build different type of views, and in all of those views or dashboards we are going to use this CPU related panel. So in that case we can keep it in a library. You can think of this like a reusable item, so you can reuse in any of the dashboards. So let's go ahead and save it as CPU basic and we can keep it in dashboard folder. This is fine. Let's go ahead and click on create library panel. Now we can see it is saying library panel is saved successfully. Now we can go back to this dashboard and then we can, rather than edit panel, we can just go one step back. Now here you can see in the add we have couple of options. We have one option of importing from library. So let's go ahead, click on that, and you can see we have one panel available. So let's go ahead, select that one. Now right now we are not seeing any data. Let's see the reason for that. For example, if you click on edit here, you will notice that our query contains variables. Okay, so here you can see we have $node, we have $job, and then we have, okay, so basically we have only these two variables which I can see here right now. So right now since these values are not being passed, or basically it is being passed as blank, that's the reason we are not seeing any data. Let's go back to new dashboard and click on discard. We are going to fix it, and we are going to fix it by adding variables, and I'm going to show you how to do that. By the way, we don't really need this empty panel. Let's go ahead and remove this panel, and then let's go ahead save this dashboard as well. I'm just going to call it variable demo, and then let's go ahead click on save. First of all, variables are created on dashboard level. You cannot have a variable on this panel level. Now if you see on this dashboard also, if you see these filters or variables, these are available at basically dashboard level. You don't see variables being available for each of these panels. That's not possible as of now in Grafana. So let's go ahead and we need to go to dashboard settings, and here you will be able to see several options. Here you can see there are various tabs which are available. So we need to go to variables tab, and then we need to click on add variable. Now there are various approaches of creating a variable. For example, you can create a variable which is going to have dynamic data which is going to be coming from one of the query, or you can have a custom variable, a text box variable where someone is going to type something and then click on submit. Okay, and then there are several other available variables as well. So first of all, let's go ahead and see this custom one. So we are going to select custom here in the variable type. Now here you need to tell what is the name of the variable going to be. Now you know we have a variable called node. So let's go ahead and give it a name of node. And for now we are just going to give some values here. Now we know we have 3 servers and we also know what they are called. So I'm just going to see here. You can see our servers are called app_server_1 :9100. And then we have again another one, then we also have db_server :9100. So let's go ahead and add all of these one by one. Now here we are going to add one value, then we need to give comma and we need to add another value. So I'm just going to copy paste it, change it to app_server_2. Now let's give comma again and we are going to add db_server :9100. Okay, so we have added these 3 items which are available here to here as well. Now once you do that, once you start adding all of these options here, you can see here we have these data available. Okay, so basically now our variable, which is node, going to have one of these values available. So let's go ahead and click on apply. Now after clicking on apply, you can see that we have one variable here and this is the definition of that variable here. If you want to make changes again, you can again click on that variable name and you will be able to make changes again. Let's click on apply again. And if you want to, now once you are happy with the variable which you have created, you can just go ahead and click on close. Now once we click on close, you can see now we have a variable which is called node, and in the values you can see we have these values available. We can select one of these values. Now you can see for node we have selected app_server_1 :9100, but still we do not see any data for this CPU utilization. The reason for that is if you go here and edit, you can see that in our query we are also using another variable which is called job. So now if we go to our this dashboard, you can see in the job we need to pass node_exporters. So what we can do is let's go ahead, go back to our dashboard. Let's go ahead, discard this. Now here we are going to go ahead and create another variable. Let's go ahead and add another variable, and this time we are going to click on new variable. We are going to change it to custom again, and then we are going to call it job. Now just scroll down and here we can pass node_exporter, or rather node_exporters as the value, because that's the value which it is expecting. Now let's go ahead, click on apply. You can see now we have 2 variables. Now let's go ahead, click on save dashboard, save the dashboard, and then we can close this. Now at this point also we do not see the data. The reason for that is you can see we are getting this warning here, and if you see, you can see it is missing data source variable. It means we need to have another variable which is called data source. So let's go ahead and add one more variable, and this is also we are going to keep it of custom type. Let's call it data source, and then here in the values we are going to give it default, Prometheus. Once you do that, you can see we have preview of values. Now click on apply, and then we can just click on close. Now you can see once we make a selection of data source as default and then refresh the dashboard, we can see the data. Now here if you notice, we have data source variable in the beginning, and then we have job and host variable. So it means if you want to realign them, you can do that by just clicking on dashboard settings, then going to variables, and you can just drag and drop them. For example, if you want to see data source here as the first option, you can do that. Then you can see job and node option. Now let's go ahead and click on save to save the dashboard, and now you can see we have data source in the beginning. Now if you notice here, we are seeing the name of the variable. Now in certain situation, name of the variable can be something technical. For example, let's say here you have node, but maybe to the user you want to show as servers, because eventually user is making a selection for one of the available servers. So in that case, let's go ahead and click on dashboard settings. Let's go ahead, click on variables and click on node. Now here if you see, we have something called label. So here we can change it to servers. Click on apply and also close it. Now once you do that, you can see now node has been changed to servers. Now notice one thing in the query. For example, if I try to go to edit, notice one thing, this variable is still called node. Okay, so whatever label you are changing, it is only for the visualization purpose, but in your query you still need to use the exact variable name. Okay, so now let's go ahead, click on dashboard settings and see what else we can do. Now if you notice here in the nodes, what we have done is we have basically hard coded some values for the variable. And typically you would not like to do that, because let's say today you are monitoring 3 servers, but tomorrow if you install Prometheus on, let's say, hundreds of other servers, in that case you don't want to add all of those 100 servers one by one here. So typically you will need those servers to be coming here automatically, and that is going to happen with the query variable. So we are going to select query. And now in order to see all the servers which are being monitored in Prometheus, there is a query available which we can just go ahead, click on this dashboard, click on dashboard settings, let's click on variables. And here you can see we have node, and this node is also of type query. And here you can see this is the query which is being used. So basically that's the reason we will need to have this query. So let's go ahead. And here we are going to select query type as label names. It's going to be label values. So we are going to do that. Let's go ahead, change it to label values. And then we are going to go ahead and change it to, in the label, we are going to select instance. So in the label, let's go ahead and select instance. And for the matrix, we are going to select node uname underscore info. That is the one which basically has the value of all the servers which are being monitored. So it's called node underscore uname underscore info. Let's go ahead and select it. And in the label filters, we can select, no, it's going to be job. So okay, let's go ahead and change it to job. And here it is going to be job, but we are using variable name of job. Now, as you are building the query, if you just scroll down, you can see our preview of values should get updated. If you don't see it getting updated, just click on run query, and then you should be able to see the values which is coming from directly from this data source. Now let's go ahead and click on apply, and then let's close this. Okay, so now we have these servers coming dynamically. Now some of the other things which we can do with the variable is we can also make it multi-select. For example, right now we are able to select only single value, but if you want to change it to or have the ability to select multiple servers, you can do that. So let's go ahead and see how we can do that. And for that, first of all, we are going to build a new panel. So let's go ahead, click on visualization. And here, let's say we want to add, or we want to basically see whether the server is up or down. So for that one, we are going to use metric name of up. Let's click on select. And in the visualization, I'm going to use this stat. Now here in the label filters, we don't really need anything as of now. So let's go ahead, click on cross and close that, and let's click on run queries. So once you do that, you can see we are getting uptime of all of these 3 servers, and we are able to see whether these are up or down. Now let's go ahead and also change the label. So in the label, let's say we only want to see the instance name. We don't want to see this complete JSON string. So let's go ahead, select options, and here we are going to go ahead and select custom, and we are going to change it to instance. Now once you do that, you can see we are seeing only the server names. And let's go ahead, change this panel title to server status. Now here you are going to see value of 1 when the server is up, and you are going to see value of 0 when the server is down. So rather than having or seeing 0 or 1, we can show it as server is up or server is down. And we can do that by choosing the value mapping. So for that, you need to scroll down here, and you should be able to see a value mapping section. Let's click on add value mappings. And here we are going to say if value is 1, let's show or display a text of up. And if value is 0, we want to show text of down. So we need to create one new mapping. So let's go ahead and add a new mapping, select value. And here we are going to keep 0, and we are going to change it to down. Now let's go ahead and click on update. You can see now we are seeing up or down. Let's click on apply. Now in this case, if you notice, we are not using these variables. That's the reason it is not filtering or it is not restricted based on our selection. It is always going to show us data for all of these 3 servers. And by the way, I'm just going to make it here on the right hand side. Now if you want to add variables in this as well, we can quickly do that by just clicking on edit. Now here in the label filters, we can go ahead and select instance. And then here we are going to select node, because this is a variable name which we have given it. and then click on run queries. So now you can see we are seeing status only of this server, which is the selected one. Now let's click on apply, and now we are able to see status of these selected servers. Now let's say we want to show status of multiple servers. So we should be able to make a multiple selection in this. So let's go ahead, first of all, make changes in this query, and we are going to click on edit. Now here in the instance, we are going to change it to multi-select, which is equal to and tilde, and then click on run queries, and then click on apply. So right now it is showing a status of only one server, because here in the servers variable, we don't have ability to select multiple items. Now if you want to enable the ability of selecting multiple items, we can click on dashboard settings and click on variables. Now here for the node, let's click on node. And here, if you just scroll down, you can see we have an option of multi-select or multi-value basically. And we can also have something called include all options. Keep both of these selected and click on apply. And then also let's close it. Now you can see this is going to give us ability of selecting multiple servers. So once I select, let's say, both of these app servers, you can see we are having here status of both of these servers. Of course, our first panel is not going to work because now servers having these value of 2 servers, and here in this query you can see our condition is of equal to. So basically this is expecting a single item to be passed, but we are passing multiple items, so that's why it is not really matching. But this is fine, we already know that this is going to happen. Let's go back. If you want to select all of them, you can just go ahead and click on all. And as soon as we do that, you can see now we have data for all of these servers. Now, first of all, let's go ahead and change this CPU basic query also. So we are going to just go ahead and edit it. And here we are going to replace this equal to with equal to and tilde character. So we can have multiple items selected here. Now here also, I'm just going to change it from equal to equal and tilde. Now for all the other queries, if you want to do it, you can do it. Otherwise, I guess we can leave it as it is. For now, we can just leave it as it is. So we are going to see basically data only for one query, which is our query A, and it is going to give us busy system. So that's fine. You have already understood that we need to make these changes in all the other queries as well. And now we can just go ahead, click on save library panel. Please notice that this is a panel which is basically saved in library. So if we are making changes here, it is going to be changed into the library. So let's go ahead, click on save library panel and click on update all. Okay, so now based on the selection, we are going to see data for one or the multiple servers. Now let's say we have one summary level view, which is this one, where we are able to see server status, and we can see that all of these 3 servers are up. But let's say if one of these server goes down, we are probably going to be interested in seeing the details of that server. For example, we might want to click on this up, and we should be able to jump to this detailed dashboard, which is this one. I'm just going to go back to node exporter details, so which is this one. Okay, so in order to do these kind of things, we will need to know about data link. So let's go ahead, click here on edit, and if you just scroll down, you can see we have something called data links, and here we are just going to go ahead and click on add data link. Now once you click on add link, you can see we have an option of adding a title. So let's say I just want to call it summary to detail view, and here in the URL we need to pass the dashboard which we want to redirect it to. So I'm just going to go ahead and select this URL. Now you can just leave this edit index equal to 2 URL. We don't need that one, we just need this dashboard URL. So I'm just going to go ahead, copy it and paste it here, and then we are going to go ahead and click on open in new tab, click on save, click on apply. So now if you hover mouse on this, you can see we have a hand icon showing, which means we have some clickable item. So if I click here, it is going to take me to this detail view. But right now you can see regardless of which item I click on, I'm always going into the same detail view. But in reality, you would typically like, let's say if you click on DB server, you would like DB server details to be opened. So here in the variable, you would like it to be changed to DB server. So for that, we will need to change the data link. So let's go ahead and click on edit. And here we are just going to scroll down, go to data links, click on edit, and here we need to add ampersand, and then we need to add where hyphen name of the variable which we want to pass For example, in this case, we know variable name is called node, which is basically the name of the server, which we want to pass to the next dashboard. And here it is going to be equal to, and then we need to write dollar, because this also is something which we don't want to hard code. This is something which should come automatically depending on which item I click on. So now as soon as you type equal to or type dollar, you can see we have some of the items available here. So now in this scenario, we basically need to select field labels dot instance. So I'm just going to click on this, and then let's click on save and click on apply. Now for the sake of simplicity, let's go ahead and close all the other tabs and also click on refresh. Let's also save it so we don't lose our work. Now you can see if I click on this app server 1, it's going to take me to app server 1. Now let's say if I click on DB server, it should take me to DB server. So here you can see this DB server has changed automatically, because now here you can see in the URL, this where-node equal to DB server has been selected. And this is basically being passed from this panel to this dashboard. Now in the detailed dashboard, if you want to pass value for other variables, you can do that as well using the similar approach. Now one thing to notice here is that here we are seeing data of last 6 hours. But if I go and click here and go to the detail view, you can notice here that here we are getting data of last 24 hours, which can be really confusing, because let's say if the issue has happened right now, or maybe let's say in some scenario you are seeing the summary view of last 6 hours. You want to see the detail view also of those 6 hours for further drill down, right? So in that scenario, we will also need to pass the timing context. And for that one, we can again click on here and go to edit. And let's click on edit data link. And here we can again write ampersand, and then you can write dollar. And just scroll down here, you can see we have something called built-in time range. So we can select built-in time range and click on save. Click on apply. And now if I click on, let's say, DB server, you can see this tab is opening up. And you can see now we have data being shown only of last 6 hours. Okay, because that is what is selected here in the summary dashboard. If I change it to, let's say, last 15 minutes and click on DB server, the detail view is also going to show me data of last 15 minutes only. So this is how basically you can create a drill down. Now there is one limitation. You cannot have drill down in the same dashboard. For example, I cannot click on up and then it is not going to show me, let's say, another panel here itself, which is going to show me data of, let's say, CPU utilization or memory utilization of the same server here. So that is something which is not feasible until you do some sort of customization and add the code yourself. So that's all in this lesson. If you liked it, please go ahead and hit the like button. If it helped you, please do not forget to mention thank you in the comment box, and I'll see you again in the next lesson.